Welcome back, episode 32, Pass Pod. Phil, how you doing?
Very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate, good. So we look like we're going to actually have some news about when we can get back to playing rugby soon, don't we?
Yeah. The RFU released their roadmap with no dates assigned to it, but sort of gave you the idea of the way it's going to work. It looks like we're definitely playing rugby by the beginning of next season and proper rugby. There's potential to play a few games in like late April, May. I'm not sure I'm that excited about that. But the club is definitely going to start putting on some events. I know there's an O2 touch planned when we can get a bar open up there, so we get as many people up there, do sort of like a combined O2 with a social picnicky thing like we did last year. And kind of just try and get back to some kind of normality, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of the lads are chomping at the bit to get back to the club. Not necessarily to play at the minute, but to get back up and have the bar open. So that should be good. There's actually even rugby to watch this weekend. Interesting rugby to watch.
Well, there is rugby to watch. Whether I'm got a chance of watching it is a different question. But yeah, you got England France obviously, which is going to be most people's interest, I think, this weekend. We've got through to him, Tom.
Mate, Eddie's listening to the pod. Surely.
Elliot Daly is Gonski. He's on the bench, but they replaced him with someone who's potentially more boring. Malins. We've only got one of the best fullbacks on the wing, and then some of the best wingers in the Premiership tearing it up, but they're not getting a look in. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't really care how England do now. Like, they're not going to win it, are they? So, yeah, see how loose and enjoyable to watch the French are, I think, is what I'm looking forward to in that one.
Yeah, I'm not too fazed by the result. I'd like us to, for me, a win would be not a stupid penalty count. If I told you can keep it to maybe 2 or 3, absolutely buzzing. That's the learn we needed to take away. Also, Jamie George not starting and Luke Cowan-Dickey starting. That's quite a big call, considering George was picked as one of the Lions captains not long ago.
Yeah, well, I think none of these guys have played that much, but the Sarries lads have played even less. And I think, it's kind of showing a bit. They're a bit rusty. They're not at the top of their game. Jamie George didn't start one of the other games as well. Was it Italy?
Yes.
He didn't start against Italy, or one of them. I can't remember. And I think Cowan-Dickey is improving. So, yeah, I'm going to have to change my fantasy team because I think I had Jamie George in for the sneaky maul tries that England were bagging in the autumn internationals, and that's not come to fruition in the Six Nations at all. But no, I think it's tough for these Saracens lads. They've got a bit of a job on their hands now to get themselves back in the Premiership.
Well, yeah, it looks like some of these lads are going to have to play more rugby than first expected, I think.
Yeah,
which is an interesting feat. But
yeah, well, it's making me actually want to watch. So for anyone who doesn't know, a lot of the Championship teams are putting their live streams on for free on the internet. So Saturday, Sunday, there's also opportunities to watch. I think there's a game tonight actually that Ben's playing in. Doncaster are playing someone.
Cov,
that's right. Cov tonight. That's live free stream, I believe. So it's going to be too late by the time you hear this, but
yeah,
just for future reference.
I mean, one screen
for free.
Yeah, one screen could have Donny, the other screen could have Briz, could have a takeaway. What a night that is! That everyone's missed out on the opportunity of hearing about because this goes out on Saturday morning. What an opportunity! No, but I do think actually, and hopefully, by the time Sarries come up to Nottingham, it's the 1st of May, so we might even be allowed to get in another go. You know what I mean?
Might be able to go and watch. It'll be interesting. I mean, they're going to have to, they have to come second to get into the final because the top 2 go into a final for the promotion spot. From what we understand, there's no relegation from the Premiership this year.
No, but it would be funny, wouldn't it, if they were there at the bottom?
Yeah, but I think they'll make the top two. Ealing just, got to win every game apart from the Sarries game now. And to be fair, by the result they got against Nottingham, you'd expect that looks like it could be all right. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Ben mentioned to us on when we recorded this podcast that Donny got their win against Ampthill, but didn't play their best. So that could be a really interesting league this year. It could actually be quite good to watch. So with the free sort of admissions for most of the clubs to watch it online, and they do all have commentary, of very quality. But yeah, it's just a good way to promote Championship rugby, I think.
Yeah. Would it be better if we commentated on it than the commentary you've heard?
Probably not for the people's enjoyment, no.
Okay, fair enough. It's going to be a weird league, though, isn't it? Because obviously there's no return fixtures. So this is kind of why I know it didn't show too much for Sarries, but Pirates, we know, is a horrible place to go anyway. But teams starting from an absolute standstill, whereas Ealing have had, 5-6 game running? And it really showed, didn't it, with the Ealing game the other day, that it's just...
Yeah, so Sarries, Donny and Ealing obviously played against each other. I think one or two others. So I know Cobb had a few pre-season games. Richmond had one or two. Nottingham didn't. And I think the result kind of bears the scars of that. But, you can't base everything on one game. So they've got another 9 to go. Let's see if they can pick themselves up.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to see and watch. Talk about Championship rugby. You've already mentioned Hunter. Good lad. Funny lad.
Brilliant lad.
Great eyebrows.
Some fantastic eyebrows. I mean, his hair looks like it's like stitched into his head.
Someone else I thought of the other day, we went through a few similarities. A slightly wider Sue Perkins.
Yes. Yeah, like a round-headed Sue Perkins, yeah.
A Lego version of Sue Perkins.
Yeah, I can see that. He's great. I met him and immediately clicked with him and ended up going to his wedding and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, real good mate. Still speak to him loads. And I was quite excited to get him on the podcast, and he definitely didn't disappoint. No,
he didn't. And we almost had the ability to record a second podcast afterwards because even more came out. But I'm sure, because there's a bit of a bombshell, maybe next year we can get him on and have a few beers with him again and go through some more of those stories. But should we get into it and see what he's like?
Yeah.
Sound. So here are Ben Hunter. How you doing?
Not bad.
Good. So for those who don't know you, you're one of 3 Hunter brothers and a former teammate of Philip. You've got a few nicknames. You're Hunt and Bush Pig. I've got some questions. Supposedly you're a lookalike to Donny Osmond, Claire Balding. I thought half of Kevin and Perry at one point, but we won't delve into that. You played for Hartbury, Cambridge, Ealing Trailfinders, obviously Donny now. Named in the 2019 Championship Team of the Year. Pretty impressive now. Phil's written, and I don't know if this is true, he says you're an all-round great guy. Is that true?
Well, I can't answer that about myself, really, can I?
So
no idea.
And one of our listeners actually spotted you in a convenience store earlier this week, picking up, I don't know, maybe a bread roll, I don't know.
I think it was a bacon sandwich.
Oh, the delights. But what started you playing rugby anyway?
My granddad, really, he was a big rugby league man. It's going back a little bit now, but he was quite involved with Oldham Rugby League back in the day when they were in the top league. So it was really him that got me into it. And I started off playing rugby league, believe it or not, before I went to rugby union. But yeah, they're all tall and slender in that sport. So yeah, there's only one way for me to go to rugby union.
So that was the only reason you switched, because you're not tall and lean.
Yeah, pretty much that. And there was far too much running for my liking.
I think that's far too much running in rugby union, if I'm honest. When did it start getting serious for playing rugby? At what point did you realise actually I'm doing all right here?
I did, to be honest with you, I didn't really. I just really enjoyed it. I went to Hartbury at 16. I left home and I went there, and it was just literally full on rugby. It was like a professional environment from 16. And just enjoyed it. And then I ended up at Doncaster when I was 25, and it was my first full-time contract. So yeah, before that I was only playing semi-professionally and training 2 nights a week.
So how old are you now then? Without
32. 32.
So you're
the same age.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at you, it won't be able to pin either of you at a decent age. So obviously you said playing in a professional environment effectively from 16. University rugby, what was that like for you?
Yeah, very good. It was a great place to be at Hartbury at the time that I was there. I think it's changed quite a little bit since I've left. I think they actually concentrate on actual university work now. Whereas when I was there, we used to get away with absolute murder. I could tell you some funny stories about that. Certain Tongan players coming over, and we'd go into a sports biomechanics exam, and they just write about Tongan culture and the history of Tonga and pass the exam. So, yeah.
He doesn't love it.
I think it's something that you have to concentrate on quite hard.
I've never got, because we were talking to Pule the other day, I've never been able to do the balance of studying and training and playing a decent level of rugby at the same time. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, me neither.
What, studying in general?
Yeah, studying in general.
It's not. But while you were at Hartbury, that's when they started kind of climbing the leagues quite quickly, didn't they?
Yeah. Like I said, I was fortunate to play at Hartbury with some class players, and I think at the time when did they start into the leagues? I think I was still in college when they went into the lower leagues, and then when I went and started at the uni there at 18, I went straight playing for the Saturday side. I can't even remember what league we were in, but there was some tough games down in those lower leagues, especially those young pups going down to the Forest of Dean and places like that, getting the absolute shit kicked out of us. Because they said that we weren't as good as you at playing rugby, but we could at least have a fight with you and beat the crap out of you. So yeah, it was a few of those games when I played for them.
And that didn't put you off then?
No, I quite enjoyed it actually.
A bit slower, wasn't it, Ben? A bit slower.
Yeah. I'd actually had an experience because before I started playing for the Hartbury Saturday side, I was still at college, and I ended up playing for there's a team in Gloucester called Spartans, and they were, I think at the time they were playing in Southwest 1, so I went playing for them. And rightly or wrongly, I shouldn't have been playing because I think you couldn't play front row until you're 18, and I was playing from them in the front row, I think from about 16, 17. I learned plenty.
That wouldn't creep through the cracks now, would it? Being front row at 16.
No, I don't think so.
No. Phil, when was the first time you came across Hunter?
I can tell you this story actually.
Yeah, let him tell the story.
This is absolutely genius. First time I ever met Phil, I think we'd been at pre-season. What had we been at pre-season training? About a week or something like that, Phil.
You boys had already done 10 days.
We've done 10 days. So right, we're 10 days in. It's my first season at Donny and Phil's first season. He rocks up. First session, we've got a fitness session. There's these things that the condition at the time, he called them Malcolms, which, if those of you know what Malcolms are, yeah, they ain't pretty. And Phil,
all the Pavey's lads know what Malcolms are, mate. Don't worry about that.
Phil had just got back off his honeymoon. And let's just say he was on Struggle Street during that session. I think we did about 3K's worth of Malcolms, and Phil Phil finished about half an hour after everybody else.
We did 66 Malcolms, I think, as I calculated, which was like 4.5 kilometers of running in this session with like touch in between.
Yeah.
And that was the afternoon. So that was the first session I'd had with Ben, really, because in the morning I'd been with the front five were in together, and then the back row and the backs were all together. So in the morning I'd been off like doing skills and stuff with the backs and having a lovely time because, you know, it was quite easy, and we had a weight session and that was quite nice. And then we went out for this session and it was a Thursday afternoon and it was so hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot. And if those who haven't been to Doncaster, like the top 2 feet, it was like being in Portugal, wasn't it, Ben? It was, the ground was rock hard, like the sun was searing down on us. And they've gone, right, we're going to play some touch. So I'm like, yes, this is me. Sprinting around like an idiot for 20 minutes or 15 minutes while we play touch to begin with. And then like, right, we're into this conditioning now. And it was, you do 6 Malcolms in a row.
Then was it 5? Then your partner goes, weren't it?
Yeah,
then
you do it 6 times. So it was like 6 sets of 6 Malcolms, the first one. And then it was 5 sets of 5 Malcolms, then 4 sets of 4, 3 sets of 3, 2 sets of 2, and 1 to finish. And I'm not going to call them around and say they were cheating, but there was definitely one member of the team who was in worse condition than I was at that point, and he was beating me, and I wasn't having any of it. And you'll know who I'm talking about there, Ben.
Indeed.
And yeah, I was in a bad place. And then at the end of that, I kind of like got up and I was like, oh God, I'm a little bit unfit because I'd gone on honeymoon without a job, essentially. I was speaking to a very small amount of clubs, and Doncaster literally came out of nowhere while I was away. But yeah, it was a bad intro to my career at Doncaster.
In credit to you, it's probably up there with one of the worst sessions I've done.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
There were like some people in that team who were just unbelievably fit, like Paul Jarvis, Paul Roberts as well.
Yeah.
The pair of them were just like skipping, like it was easy as you like for them. And then there were other people in the team who literally just had like the head just looking at like running, but just head on the floor basically. Like,
in fact, I think Big C beat you that day.
Well, that's where I'm questioning it, mate.
I'll never forget that day. I'm telling you that now. That was what a day.
It ruined my life.
Did you feel a bit fucking silly, Phil?
Well, yes and no. Like,
never a good first day, is it, to turn up and
no.
I was overweight because I was genuinely expecting not to find a team for a few weeks after getting back, and I was literally back on the Tuesday and in training on the Thursday, having done nothing for like 5 weeks. Yeah, it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous.
So, what was it like having to spend so much time with Phil?
What can I say about Phil? He's quite a unique chap, really. He's got the biggest hands I've ever come across in my life.
Yeah.
Look at him, slab hands. You can see it there on the screen.
They are massive. They are horrible hands, to be fair. Did you? Would you say you had to carry him at points, though?
No, because he was hardly ever on the pitch, to be honest with you.
So he was carrying the water, and
no, in fairness to him, he was good for us. Was Phil? He was actually, to say he's a similar age to me. He was quite an old-headed player within the team that we had that year. You know, it was a full rebuild, really, wasn't it, Phil? It was a completely new environment for me. I'd never, you know, like there's one thing being a university side that's full time, but you ain't playing at the level that a full time in the Champ are. And Phil had done that, and I hadn't been in that environment. And to be honest with you, I was a bag of spanners in that first year, in the Nat 1 year. It took me a long time to settle in and just get up to scratch with everything, really.
Hunter's, for those who don't know him, which is just about everyone who's going to be listening to this, is one of the keenest, most energetic. You wouldn't think it looking at him, but he's a very energetic person. He's very keen, and he's got amazing ability just to show willing for anything, and will go along with anything. And I think it's fair to say that when Hunter first came, you were a bit in awe of sort of like the complexity of things and the sort of the new way we were doing things, like line out and game plan and stuff like that. It was a bit new for Hunter, whereas obviously I'd been doing that for 6 years already. So while Hunter was at Hartbury and going through his semi-pro stuff, I'd done 6 years at Nottingham, you know, a similar standard team. So I was kind of used to it. But Hunter was one of these people who would just be like, oh, let's just do one more. Let's just do one more. I remember the line-out session, the backs, like, we used to do a session and then split, and the backs would be up there doing like their moves, bit of kicking.
Kick tennis they'd be playing.
Kick tennis for hours, and they're all enjoying it, and we're like mauling and scrummaging and beating the crap out of each other. And in that Doncaster team, it was just beating the crap out of each other, because that's just the kind of people we had in the team. And we'd get to the end, and Kendo, who's the forwards coach then, would be like, right, let's just do 10 line-outs. Let's just hit all these 10 line-outs. And the first year, it was Roberto and Ben were the two hookers, and another, but I can't remember what the other guy was, who he was.
Was it Bergie?
Bergie was kind of half and half, wasn't he? He was propping and hooking that year.
Yeah.
There's another guy, I'm sure he had like some ginger lad.
Who was
Maybe not. Anyway, and Roberto, who was Italian, had played in like the Italian top division for a few years, would like hit maybe 6 out of 10, to be kind, of his line-outs. And he'd be like, yeah, fine, and walk off. And then Hunter would like throw 10, probably hit 5 or 6 as well. But then he'd be like, let's just have one more. Let's just have one more. Eventually, we were throwing like 35 of these things, and the backs are all fucking showered on the way to the cars, and we're still out there with Hunter. Let's just have one more. And I remember a session. It was me, everyone else gone in, and it was left with me, maybe Chal, and another one of the back rowers. Might have been Hilsey. Just with Ben, just throwing the tail ball for like 20 minutes after. But that was the best thing about Ben, because he was so willing to do that and improve. And then on a Saturday, it paid dividends, because Roberto was deemed to be the first choice to begin with, and soon was given the old fucking elbow, because, well, he was pretty shit, to be honest. But
not a fan.
He was a good guy when he old Roberto. I had a lot of time for that.
He was good. He was a nice bloke, but he
was far too good looking to play in the front row.
Yeah, ridiculous. Like, his missus was unbelievable, wasn't she? She was. Yeah,
Beppe DeMarco from EastEnders, he looked
like. Something we quite like to ask relatively early on in the podcast is about the social side of rugby, because our listeners get a bit bored of actual rugby chat relatively quickly. So we've got to throw in some drinking stories where possible. So, have you been on many rugby tours?
A couple. I sent one to Phil early on my stag do. I don't know if he's shared that.
Also, that counts.
And a good story with regards to drinking story. I was literally referring to that picture. Was on my stag do. Phil, where were we at? Was it
Ocean Club?
Ocean Club in Marbella. We'd gone on my stag do, we were thinking that's the place to go for my stag do. I'd never been on a lad's holiday, bear in mind. So this is why we went there. And Phil thought it was a good idea to down about a quarter of a bottle of Grey Goose vodka. And the pictures show how much regret he was in about 10 seconds after it.
So one of Ben's best men, I've come out of the pool, because it was so hot and I was so hungover. So I've gone and dipped in the pool, walked back, and I'm like gearing myself up to sort of get on it, because I've been a bit sleepy all day, because I'd been out quite late the night before, and I think I was the only person, maybe one of 2 people with kids who were there, and I thought it'd be a lovely.
I think that was it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I was like, oh right, lovely time to get some sleep, and I got in at 6 a.m, and we were back on the bus at 9 or something ridiculous. So yeah, I've walked back, and then Ben's at the first man just goes, "Oh, do you want some of this?" As if offering me like the last bit or some grey goose. But obviously I didn't have like a vessel. So I went, "Oh yeah, okay." Like not forgetting that it's one of these like double size bowls. So it's not a litre, it's like 2 litres. And it's got quite a bit in it. So I like necked it and it's all gone in, and then I've gone like that, oh, well that's quite, and then I'm like, oh no, the vodka snarl comes on. I'm like, oh god, and then from then on that night just shot downhill, I seem to remember.
But apart from that, compared to my team socials, compared to Phil, as he's renowned for a few team socials, mine are quite tame, to be quite honest with you.
You can share some of the socials that I put on for you, Ben.
Yeah, in fairness, you put on quite a few good ones. The basketball was also a good one. NBA night.
You can explain that further. Because I got in trouble for that.
What did you get in trouble for?
Well, because we lost, didn't we?
Oh, what? And the social was after it? Oh, yeah, you couldn't celebrate off a loss. It was the wrong thing to do under old Clive at the time.
So that one was... we were in teams, I seem to remember. So you have to come in your team strip. So some lads came in like full... To be fair, some lads paid a lot of money. Like full like NBA kits, basically. Spent quite a bit of money on it. So I can't remember who we'd played. We played at home, and the plan was that we were going to win. Everyone would be in a good mood. We'll have a few drinks in the changing room. So we'll go upstairs and do all the post-match stuff. A few drinks in the changing room, head into Doncaster. And I kind of had it all planned out. Anyway, we go and lose, and I feel like we lost in like the last minute as well.
Who was it we played?
I can't remember, but it was the match before Christmas. So whoever that was in 2014-15, and so that put a bit of a downer on it. And then obviously Phil being Phil, and those who I've organised this for, I like to make sure things are all done properly. So I'd obviously pre-bought all the alcohol. That was all being kept in like the far changing room. So where the away team were getting changed, past there, which is used on like a Sunday for the kids. So I'm like, right, the lads are out, the changing rooms. I'll go start setting up the home team changing room for the night out. And so I bought like a net, and there was all sorts of games to play, and I put moving all this booze, and there was like, the kitty was up to something ridiculous. We had about 500 quid in the kitty, and I've spent the majority on that, on alcohol and, spirits and stuff to entertain. Anyway, I'm moving like 3 cases of Budweiser, let's say. Griff walks around the corner, who's the head coach, who I didn't have a great relationship with anyway. I think that's understated. And he's like, what's that for?
I don't think many did, Phil.
Yeah, that's true. He's like, what's that for? And I'm like, we're having a few drinks in the change room in a bit. He was like, but we've lost. I was like, yeah, but it's Christmas. It's our like Christmas party. He goes, no, you've lost. You don't deserve to celebrate. So I'm like, well, that's a bit awkward because I spent quite a lot of money, Griff, and all the lads' kitty money's gone on it. He goes, well, I'm not happy about this. So then he's disappeared off, and he's got a lovely like little angry stomp when he disappears. So he's disappeared off, and I've rang Shawsey and been like, mate, Griff is not happy about this. We might have to can it. So Shawsey's upstairs with these lot, and they're all like, no, we'll crack on with it. Anyway, we go out, we have a great night. I'm dressed as Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro. And anyway, Monday morning I get taken into the office. I thought I said you couldn't have a team social. I'm like, no, why am I getting ringed out for having a team social? If anything, I was the most compass mentis in the evening.
In fairness, that wasn't actually the best team social. I'll tell you the best one that we had while we were at Donny was the Sons of Anarchy one. What a classic.
You were going to bring this up.
What a classic. I mean, the micro scooters were just absolute genius to get around. Where was it we went? Was it
Wakefield?
Wakefield, that was it. Shaky
so
Wakefield.
Ben, you can explain that one because that's a good a good one for.
So Philip put on a Sons of Anarchy team social, and in fairness, it was absolutely brilliant. To be fair, everyone dived straight in, and I think I was in the Mexican cartel. I think that's what we came on. And it was a case of just going around all the pubs in Wakey on micro scooters. I mean, we got away with murder going around there, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, the worst bit the whole day was when we got to Wake. So we'd had our end of year ball the night before. And
In what, sorry?
We had the end of year ball the night before, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And I think I'd stayed at Hillsy's. And I think I stayed at Hillsy's mum and dad's, actually, thinking about it. And he's like...
Far better than mine, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have to remember the good bits. They dropped us off down Wetherspoons for like an hour, and then we all get on the train at Donny Station. It's like a 15-minute journey up to Wakefield, I think, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've never seen so many raised eyebrows in Doncaster. I mean, for those who haven't been to the centre of Doncaster, it's eclectic. It's probably the way I'd describe it. You know, there's people from all walks of life there, and different walks of life as well. And basically, I think we had 24 lads on this stag do in 4 different cartels. So you had the Mexicans, you had whatever, I can't remember what they were called nowadays. We had 4 different teams, and everyone's dressed up in matching double denim, essentially.
Yeah.
So like people like I don't know how much your team spent, Ben, but my team spent 24 quid each on all their jackets and stuff like that, and bandanas and blah blah blah. So we're all matching, and the looks we were getting were ridiculous. Anyway, we finally got to Wakefield, and we've all like got on our scooters, and you got 24 massive blokes on essentially kids' scooters,
parking them up outside in every pub.
The first thing we have to do is go to the bottom of Wakefield. So you come out the train stations at the top of the hill, and we go all the way down to the bottom of the hill, and there's a 14 pub run.
Fell off. Was it you who fell off?
No. See, I've got a message from one of our ex-teammates who said that you had a bit of an issue with your scooter.
Oh no, the handlebars fell off mine, didn't they, on the way out the train station? In fact, I think there's a video that circled round that got quite a few views about me trying to do, what do they call it, where you try and jump up in the air and take all the wheels off the floor. And as I did it, the handlebars came out and completely, But somebody went down that hill at the full rate. Not I'm sure of it. I'm sure Bergie was behind him at the time, and they nearly got run over because there was cars travelling up and down that hill, and they fell off, face planted into the road on the way down.
But there was 24 of us flying down the hill in Wakefield, all on scooters. It was one of the great. I wish I'd got a good video of it, because it was one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen. Yeah. And then we rocked up at this first pub and sat in the beer garden, and they were like these scooters just abandoned around the beer garden. And then we had like, I'd always do like little tasks throughout. So each team had to try and smuggle as much white powder into a bar and then get rid of it within the bar. So they had to like shuffle it off into plants and stuff, and whoever had the most left at the end. So basically every team got given a kilogram of flour. And that's dispose of the kilogram of flour in this bar without getting spotted by the barman. It was a good fun. It was a good one.
Brilliant. Yeah, it was a brilliant day out.
Yeah, it was one of my favourites. That was the getting to the top of the hill and having lost a lot of people on the way. Because there's a Wakey 14 pub trail, and that was the plan, was to do 14 pub trail, but we got stuck in one bar for at least 4 hours and just ended up being absolutely hammered and not making it to like number 50, number 14. I think. Talking
about another social, the one that nearly ended my Donny career quite quickly was the one we had in Scarborough. Do you remember that one?
Was that the Tour de France?
Yeah, Tour de France in Scarborough. We were away in Scarborough. We all wore lycra and turned up to this Scarborough Rugby Club, and I don't even know. Well, it basically was the Tour de France theme, wasn't it? Anyway, we got absolutely shit-faced. And we had a lad called Clarky, me and Phil are good mates with still to this day. and I tried rugby tackling him and basically nearly ruined his MCL, and he was pretty much one of the key signings that we've made that year. I'll never forget it. Yeah. Not the wisest idea.
No, doesn't sound like the wisest. Before we move on from socials, the only other sentence I've got from Phil's very deep script is a pedal taxi in Ireland. Now, you look like you can't remember, but I'm hoping Phil does, considering he wrote.
Well, I wasn't there for this one because the guys went to Ireland the year after I left.
Oh, yes, I do remember this. Bless that guy. You had to pull. Basically, we'd gone out. Where were we? In Cork. Who told you about this one, Phil?
Jarvis.
Yeah, it was early hours of the morning, and basically, I'd come out of this club, and all I saw this guy, bless him, they weren't much of him. He was peddling Listy, Cal, and Quigley up this hill. Right? And they're like, "Come on, Hunts, jump in. We're going to the casino." Right? So I obviously just ran across the road, jumped into the back of this. What do they call? I don't even know what they call them. Like a tuk-tuk, isn't it? With a pedal tuk-tuk.
Oh, what are they called?
Is it just like with a buggy on the back and the bloke's pedalling you?
That's it, yeah. And he's pedaling, and he was going uphill, and God, it must have been about 400 or 500 kilos on the back of that. and he took us all the way round. I'm sure it was Cork or somewhere like that. And he pedalled us round for miles because Quigley was adamant that there was a casino in Cork. And after about 20 minutes of him pedaling us around, he got us to this so-called casino, and it turned out that it was just one of the money slots arcades.
Boys, have we got any 2Ps?
Yeah, that one called an ender on that one, but yeah, that's the story on that one.
Amazing. Phil, before you get your package out for Hunter, we do have some questions from the public.
When you say public,
teammates, but public nonetheless. They're not here. So, first one, can you kick yourself in the head?
Not anymore.
Oh, can you give it a try?
I remember,
not bad.
This was in the first few weeks of knowing Hunter because there was quite a Heartbreed clique that joined Doncaster at the same time as I did. Yeah. And they all obviously had the little inner jokes. And Hunter is quite a short, well, compared to me, he's quite a short person.
Very short, Phil. It's all right. You can throw me under the bus. Right.
And I just remember someone shouting at him in the middle of training, "Can you kick yourself in the head?" I don't know whether anyone's ever seen a short person try and kick himself in the head, but he tried to do it in the middle of a training session, and I had to stop. I had to take myself out of training for 5 minutes because I was literally wetting myself with laughter.
Yeah, sadly not the tallest person. I remember the first time I met after a few occasions, I met the wife's mother, and she was ironing a pair of my trousers. And she was quite shocked the fact that my waist was wider than my inside leg on my trousers. Always good start, that one.
I've had that issue, but I'm 6'3", so it's just fucking great. Next question: can you peel an orange through a tennis racket with your teeth?
I kind of know who's asked that question already.
Who do you think?
He's Scottish.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not Dougie.
No.
Dyson.
There's nothing. It was Jarvis again.
Oh, he has. Yeah, I thought that's where you got the question from. Well, actually, Dougie's was, can you eat an apple through a tennis racket? I've got 4 from Douglas here, which I was going to veer off to in a minute. But can you eat an orange or an apple through a tennis racket with your teeth?
Sadly not. I'd give it a good go, but no, I don't think I could.
I don't think his teeth are that bad.
I mean,
to be honest,
I've had a few firework sandwiches in my time, Phil, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I mean, that's the least of your worries, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. It's funny how people talk about my teeth. There's plenty going on in front of the teeth that needs sorting.
And on that note, on that note, a certain Scott, talk about things in front of your teeth. We would like to know where you get your eyebrows done.
Next question.
And then, Phil, do you want to get your package out?
Easy.
Rats. Right, so Ben, this is not your forte at all. A quick fire round.
Right.
So just give me the first answer that comes into your head.
Yeah.
As long as you're quicker than our club captain, because he took about a minute and a half to answer each question. It was the first episode. It was painful.
Try me.
Right. So, red or green?
Green.
Favourite beverage?
Gin and tonic.
Cambridge or Ealing?
Cambridge.
Dan or Sam?
Sam.
Favourite rugby position?
Say again.
Favourite rugby position?
Fly half.
Oh, we don't need next week's guest now. You've
Best player you have played against?
Against? Christ. That's a tough one. Pass, come back to that one. Let me think about it.
Jarvis or Clarkey?
Jarv.
Favourite opposition?
Bristol.
And you won't have a clue what this means, but Jonty or Jim?
Not a clue.
Just give us one of them.
Did you say Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that one then.
Right answer as well.
Amazing.
That's the right answer. Banging on.
Favourite player I've played against?
Best player you played against.
Oh, best player I've played against. Christ.
I mean, we played against a lot of Welsh internationals.
Yeah, they're all better than me though, Phil. That's the problem. I'm just trying.
The question wasn't who's better than you.
I'm trying to work out which one was best that's played. It's got to be one of them from Bristol or someone like that.
Dwayne Peel.
Yeah, he was pretty good. We'll go with him. Yeah.
Like that. There's, as a Bristol fan, I enjoy one of the answers. We take a break here, normally because I need a piss. So we'll take a break and we can all top up our beers. Hello, Goat here. Just wanted to drop a message to say we're still looking for sponsorship. If you'd like to sponsor any part of the podcast, you can. Also, it is worth saying that obviously a lot of our older episodes are on YouTube, and there's most of them now on Spotify, on Apple, Google Podcasts as well. So worth dropping a look backwards to see what you can. There's obviously episodes with Stu Corsar. There's also a former Donny player, Alex Lewington, who's at Sarries, obviously head coach Nath, and obviously club captain Doug Billam right at the start, but that's quite lengthy because it took him a long time to answer a lot of Phil's quick fire questions. But yeah, so just keep an eye out again for the live shows that are going to be coming up at some point soon. They'll be just around the corner. As soon as we're allowed to, we'll get one in the diary and we'll let you all know. All right, back to the show. Phil, would you like to do worst rugby memory or best rugby memory this week?
I'll ask my good friend Ben, what is your best rugby memory?
Best rugby memory? Well, it's pretty easy. I think it'd be a lot of ours, really. Bristol away in the final. I think you play the game to want to play on them on the best stage that you can, and really that was probably the best stage that I've played on. In front of, I think it was something like 16,000 fans at the stadium at the time, and beating them at their place and almost going to the Prem, as they say. We call it the mad 10 minutes at home when we give them 12 points. I just blame Listy. Listy just let 2 tries in, but we won't go into it. So, that'd probably be my best rugby memory.
Because that was insane. I remember watching that on TV. Because it was the year after I left, and obviously a lot of my mates were playing in that. And you guys, like you say, you gave away some silly points in that first leg at home.
Yeah.
And lost that by 14, was it?
Yeah, in the end, and I think we even got a try disallowed in the away match as well. Or was it 2 tries? I can't remember.
I think Tyson got one disallowed, didn't he, for a forward pass or something?
Yeah, and I think Stedders got done for crossing as well.
Right.
Sorry, blocking when Clarkey scored. That's it. It could have been 2 tries. But yeah, that was probably up there in terms of best rugby memory. That and Quig's grubber kicking it in a game.
Oh God, when was that?
I can't remember. But I always remember that one.
All right. From your best rugby memory, what's your worst rugby memory?
Worst rugby memory. I won't say it's worst rugby memory. I'd just say it was the biggest regret is signing for Ealing. I don't really tell many people. I don't even know if they know, but I did go to Ealing for a short period. It was basically, I was at Cambridge at the time, and I was coming back. I'd snapped my biceps. I was literally just coming back, and I got a call from Ealing because they needed injury cover going. And I basically jumped at the chance to be like, yeah, let's give it a go, because they were getting promoted. It was pretty much guaranteed they were going up. And I went there, and I was just crap. I don't blame Ealing at all for it, but I shouldn't have gone. I was just, crap. But that turned into, something quite good, because then I got the opportunity to go to Doncaster, and the following year I signed for Donny, and I've been there ever since. So,
are you the second longest playing member of that squad now?
No, I reckon it could be. Obviously, Charlie's there. Oh, what current that's in there now? Yeah. See, Charlie, the stalwart, he's been there forever. And then it'd be me, because obviously Dougie's not playing and Tyson's not playing anymore.
That's ridiculous, because you've been there for 8 years now.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
What is it about Donny that you enjoy so much?
It's just a fantastic family-orientated club. It's the best way, it's such a welcoming place to go to. The fact that it's a professional outfit, you don't feel it, sort of thing. Everybody gets on with everybody, from the amateur side to the professional side, and it's just a real welcoming club. Best club I've been to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how common knowledge this was, but we tried to get up to Doncaster game, and then obviously COVID regulations and stuff just didn't happen. But Phil always talks very highly of Donny, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a proper local rugby club, and it was a local rugby club until not that long ago. They're the most promoted English rugby team with something like 10 promotions. And it wasn't, that long ago that they were in the same level as Paviers. And just year on year got promoted. They built the club up, turned it into a professional outfit.
They just haven't lost that amateur feel, really. To me, it's a proper club. Like everybody's welcome. Like the kids who play in the morning, and then the senior team will play in the afternoon, and they'll stay with the family. They'll watch the game. Janet will do a cow pie. It sounds daft, but it really is a proper family club, and there's not many about any more of them in the top 2 tiers. That some of them are very output focused. The results are basically the top priority, whereas the benefactors we've got at Doncaster are just second to none. They actually care about the individual. as well as the results. And they do it because Doncaster's where they were born and bred, and that's what they wanted to support. And you just got to give them credit for that.
Sound. I think that's a glowing review of a club if I've ever heard one.
And I'm not trying to get a new contract for next year because I am retiring. It has been, it's official. This is the last year.
Is that known, or is this breaking news to us?
Oh, well, it'll be breaking news. Yeah, I had the conversation a couple of weeks ago with Bowden, the new DOR, and we just, it's time. It's time. The body's given up on me. So this will be the last hurrah, as they say, shortest season in history.
I'd like to also mention that we'll be having a new hooker for next season at Players.
Sorry, Ginger.
No. You missed the question you asked me earlier. My favourite position, fly half. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, mate, if you see the state of our fly half, you'd be alright.
I mean, we've not met, but from the way you've described your body, you still might be in better shape than George. I guess that kind of leads nicely into the final question we've had. It is a two-part question, kind of like a GCSE question. So you've gone full circle. So you've gone from semi-pro to pro, and then obviously back to semi-pro. We'll go firstly. What's next for you after your breaking news?
So Phil knows I've always worked. Even though I've played professionally. And it's supposed to be a part regret, but then I was never in the professional environment from an early age. So I've always kept my toe in something else just because I thought, well, this ain't going to last very long. When they work me out, I'm going to have to go back to work. But obviously your fellow player had seen me in Long Eaton. I help out with the family company. Well, I've pretty much taken over now, which is the in furniture. So we make upholstery and upholstered furniture and bespoke furniture.
We need to name drop it, Ben. We can get you some.
Hunsonite upholstery. Yeah, if you ever need anything, please get in touch.
Oh, nice. Did you get hold of any Chesterfield sofas for me?
Oh no, we don't do Chesterfields.
No,
we do.
Not interested. I'm from Kent, mate. We only get the best. Gillingham.
Like it.
Kent, nonetheless. So that's what's next for you. In your opinion, of obviously being at Donny for a number of years and playing in the champ, what's next for the championship, do you think?
Good question. I don't know. I think the RFU really need to put a focus on the championship, where they go with it. I'm not too sure. I've got an opinion what I think, but my opinion means absolutely nothing. So yeah, it definitely needs a reshuffle, and it needs backing. But obviously, they've got to earn money from it, and I'm guessing they're not earning money, and they've been feeding the championship for a number of years, and they've basically said enough's enough, I guess. So
it is a shame because I was doing some reading the other day, so I got bored. And you look at some of the pedigree which has come from the champ. I mean, the obvious is anyone that played at Exeter while they were down there.
Yeah.
And it's a good level of rugby. I mean, this season might be a bit different, obviously, because of COVID and all of that stuff. But there's some decent rugby players down there, and it just feels. I mean, for me, as someone who just likes the idea of watching a relegation and scrap and things like that, will ring fencing actually work? Because I know some clubs are for it, some clubs are against it, and so on.
I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I think that you need a relegation and a promotion so that everybody has a chance. It's so important that anybody, if they worked hard, can get into the Premiership. And I think that needs to remain. I mean, how would you do it? It's difficult. It's difficult because it's money orientated all the time, isn't it? And if that wasn't of importance, then we'd be speaking differently about it. But
I know you said that they're not making money out of it, but how hard have they pushed? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, not hard.
So how many games have you played on Sky? Maybe 7, 8.
Yeah.
And you've played in the league for 8 years.
2 hands, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you could look and break down the A-League system that they've got. I mean, that's to be honest, it's a joke, isn't it? You know, how many times have the Premiership teams just got the local university, to give them a load of players and go and play? You know, they're not taking it seriously. Whereas if a Premiership club was associated a champ club, you know, they were given a budget. They were saying, listen, we've got some great English talent that we've got in our academy that we need to get top level rugby. And they try and find a relationship where that could work. And then using the A-League, where that used to be on a Monday night, but if you said that the champ was a midweek games and they televised it and they showed, because there are some absolute class players in the champ, you know, that deserve to be playing higher. And if they can push it that way and try and make money out of it, televising it as midweek games, you know, like the Championship in football, that's what they do there, isn't it? So maybe possibly an idea, but who knows?
It's a difficult one because, like I said, at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, and that funding and sponsorship needs to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, me and Tom have spoken about this countless times in person, and probably a little bit too much on this podcast anyway, but, you know, the way the RFU funds rugby in the UK, or in England, I suppose, as it's the English RFU, it just seems so, you know, abstract and unthought about. So there, you know, 64 million was spent on professional rugby in between 19 and 20, and the Championship received less than 2 million.
Yeah.
And the Premiership, I'm not sure how much they receive. You know, they'll receive a fair chunk, and rightly so, because it's the premium rugby in the UK, or well, yeah, in the UK and in England. But it's like, how much is the England team getting? You know, there's a World Cup that year. I'd love to know what the spend was on the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, how many millions were spent on looking at the England team while they're away in wherever the World Cup was, Japan. Is it? All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. Mate.
It's a long time ago now. But yeah, it's mad, and you know, the board themselves paying themselves like £4.5 million.
I think that's a big issue, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Everything needs a reshuffle, and we could sit here all day telling them what's going to be the best, but they're never going to go with what we recommend. But something definitely needs to happen.
Because it's a great league, and it's produced some, you know, fantastic players. A lot of the England lads have played in there and developed at least a little bit in there. And you know, I was lucky enough to play with a lot of lads that went on to play international rugby, and you probably have too as well, Ben, now. And it's one of those things where you just think, how are they going to cope without it? You know, because academy rugby, A-League rugby isn't good enough to generate these quality players.
No.
So they're going to have something in place to do that. And Championship rugby, you know, you get used to the travelling, you get used to the physicality, you get an element of the speed. You know, I'd go as far to say that Championship rugby is probably quicker than Premiership rugby. You know, there might not be the absolute finesses and the size of some of the players, but the speed of it at times is great to watch, and you know, is an entertaining prospect. If you find Premiership rugby more entertaining to watch than Championship rugby, you're not a rugby fan.
Yeah,
in my eyes.
True.
So
it's true. It's just with how they market the Championship. And I think it's important that we don't lose it. And our going back to our benefactors, Steve Lloyd, he's the chairman of the Championship, who's pushing hard to keep it open so that there's always that chance that anybody could play in the top flight, you know, given the opportunity. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with it all.
Yeah. No, it will be. I think we could talk for hours about the champ and the Prem and the money and stuff, and we probably will do after we stop recording. And but Ben, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure to chat to you. Yet another guest that we need to add to the list of our Paz Pod weekend away for a few bevs.
Brilliant.
So that's not public knowledge because we don't want public to come. Only hosts and guests, but it's been great to chat to you. It's been nice to
thanks for getting me
into your mind. I was a bit apprehensive at first because Phil made out that you weren't the brightest of blokes, but It turns out you're not too bad, mate.
Pot kettle, Phil. Pot kettle.
But thanks for coming on, mate, and we'll chat to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
So that was Hunter. Told you it was a good podcast. Enjoyed listening back.
Yeah, he's just a nice bloke. You know, you just can't be offended by him, by anything he does, anything he says. He's just got a slightly retarded smile on his face that gets him by every time. He's brilliant. Yeah, great bloke.
Yeah, no, he's class. Some of the stories. One, the scooter where he's trying to do tricks on the scooter and the handles fall off. That killed me.
But it's the best bit is that from afar he does look like a vertically challenged person. So it just looked like he hit himself in the foot. Oh, it was brilliant.
And just walk me through that first, because we touched on it, and you said you had to take yourself out of training. What was the sight of him kicking himself in the head?
Oh, it was just like he was doing it as a joke, but because he was like, yeah, he was. We were kind of set up for a line out, and he just ran behind the line out and tried to do it. And yeah, I'd gone because I'm not sure he thought everyone was looking. I thought he might just be trying to sneak it in.
How tall is he roughly?
He's like 5'7".
Oh right, so
that might be being harsh. Yeah, he's tiny.
I mean, in a group of rugby lads, that is tiny. To be fair,
he'll come back on and be like, "No, I'm 6 foot." He's not 6.
That's cool. Next week, it's a big week.
You have done some mighty work here, and I don't say this often, Tom, but I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Bill. No, we've got a former England international, Olly Barkley, coming on the pod, which is bloody exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Mad, really.
Yeah.
We're going to have to actually put some effort in, aren't we?
Yeah.
Maybe get things done before 9:15 on Wednesday night.
No, it's going to be difficult. I'm probably not going to drink as much as well, because that never helps any situation. You're going to have to do scripts and everything. So it's going to be a good podcast. I listened to a few of his bits he's done with other people, and he's a good lad. So it's be interesting to hear about his life after rugby, as well as kind of being second string to Wilkinson and Charlie Hodgson as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, big questions. Get your questions in for that. I imagine there'll be quite a few. So get them in early, because if we get about 10, we'll probably stop looking at the messages, if I'm honest, because we'll get bored of reading stuff. Yeah, so that's to look out for next week. That's good. Obviously, like you said, O2 Rugby, Touch Rugby, hopefully on. But that's going to be put out this week, did you say?
Yeah, they had a board meeting Tuesday night or something, and they're all kind of working towards getting that. I won't say it's coming out this week because it might not. So, but they are working towards it. There's no rush. We can't do anything until April anyway.
Yeah.
But we're going to have, everyone will be involved or have an opportunity to be involved in something at the club.
Yeah, no, good. Look forward to seeing everyone. It's going to get good. Get good. Yeah, it's going to get good. So I don't think there's anything else to discuss. Have you got any wise words?
Of course not.
No. Well,
you know what? What I should do is get some wise words for next week and make it a really special episode.
You need to get Phil's Proverbs or something out.
Proverbs. And we had a bit of an issue with the quiz last night, didn't we? There was some past participles that people were struggling with.
Oh, it was, yeah. Let's not go back to that. Caused too much conflict. Right. See you later, mate.
Bye.